Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Ready? Okay. You sure? Thanks. My dog Wicket, and he's also on my iPhone, along with Pixie, who's down below right now. I've had the iPhone for a few months now. I've talked about it a few times, including comparing the iPhone to Windows mobile devices, talking about why the iPhone is such a good device and why I've appreciated having it around. People ask me, though, if I've done a jailbreak on the iPhone or hacked it to make it do things that Apple didn't necessarily design it to do, at least out of the box. Not to say that it can't do those things. But I thought I would give you 5 reasons as to why I have not and likely will not jailbreak my iPhone. Number one, it isn't sanctioned by Apple, and call me crazy, but if Apple doesn't want me to do it on the phone, well, why should I do it? I mean, there have already been issues of people bricking their iPhones because they hacked it and didn't unhack it the right way when a new firmware was released. So I just don't want to mess with it at all. And that's number 2. It already works. I mean, it's a phone, and it also has great internet functionality. Perfect? No. But it works. It's not doing anything I don't want it to do. Could it do more? Oh, you bet. Would I want it to do more? Oh, yeah, you bet. But it doesn't. So I'm not really missing anything, at least that I know of. Number 3, there's an SDK coming. That's a software development kit for third-party developers, and we've already seen the enthusiasm from the iPhone community to develop applications on the iPhone, whether they're actual websites, which is largely the type of software or services that I use with the iPhone. I like appmarks.com. It's a great collection of online iPhone-optimized services. But the SDK will allow developers to optimize their applications and then possibly make it easier for you to sync those applications with your iPhones through something most likely through iTunes. So that's 3 reasons. Number 4, hacks can lead to problems. I talked about some people bricking their phones. I used to apply system hacks to other phones I've owned and other devices I've owned, and invariably a hack would mess something else up, either a future software update or something else in the system that wasn't expecting this hack to be in place, and it just created a relatively... Sorry, he was sniffing my back. It created a relative imbalance in my entire system because of the fact that I was applying something that it wasn't designed to have in place. So hacking it's fun, but I need it to be a phone. Honestly, I just need it to work, and I don't want to go hacking with my phone. Maybe if I had a second phone lying around that I could mess with and didn't worry about wasting the money on, then I'd probably do it, but not my primary phone, no way. And then number 5, and this was something brought up by Lenny, or Wireless Packet, and he's free to chime in here now, the trust system. When you install a third-party application on an iPhone, especially if it wasn't sanctioned by the person who made the platform, I was speaking specifically about the iPhone, but this would apply to any platform, you're relying on a trust system that may or may not exist. You may install an application that may or may not do what it says it's going to do or not do. You have to trust the developer of the application, and that's the big reason why you've got to be careful about installing non-trusted software on any platform. There was talk about Apple kind of rising a few levels in terms of now being on the radar of bad guys. They've been releasing a few Trojans geared towards those who are running OS X, and someone brought up in the chat room and said, well, if you just download all your applications for OS X through apple.com, they've gone and done the homework on them, so you've got the trust network in place. Well, same would hold true for the phone. Now, Lenny, do you have anything else to add?
I just want to say, even there's with this jailbreak, you can install something called OpenSSH on the phone, and if you don't uninstall it, that's going to leave you vulnerable if you're on, let's say, a Wi-Fi hotspot. What'll happen is there's a default username and password, and someone could just SSH into the phone and basically just take everything off the phone book, notes, everything. Just it'll go through the web, and you'll never know. So you have to be careful what you install on the phone. And also with these hacks, you don't know what you're saying. You don't know what software you're installing. How do you know that this software is not phoning home someplace to a server on the web and stealing text files or whatever? You don't know.
Yeah, that's and I have no problem with anybody hacking their own iPhone. It's up to them, or any device they have. I have no problem whatsoever, and I understand why Apple has a problem with it. Although I don't think they can stop it. We're going to see a lot more open source hardware being released in the coming years. But something like the iPhone is it's a piece of candy, but it's also a very powerful tool, not just a toy. I have no problem with people doing what they want if they own the hardware. It's the question of the software and who has the license and yada, 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 yada. It's kind of a gray area, but I have no problem. I've seen hacked iPhones, and I look at it and go, wow, I wish Apple would let me do that, but at the same time, I know why they don't let me do that. Some people trick out their iPhones to the point where it's kind of garish. Anyway, everybody's got their own opinions. My opinion is that I don't need to jailbreak my iPhone. What about you? Do you have an iPhone or an iPod Touch, and have you broken through those barriers that Apple doesn't want you to break through? What about you, Wicket? Have you? What do you think about the iPhone and the whole bricking and jailbreaking scenario? You can email me, chris@pirillo.com. I read everybody's emails. Sometimes I may read them on the iPhone. It's got a wonderful email application on here. Of course, you're also welcome to swing by the chat room, and we're typically talking tech 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At Wicket, you going to say it with me? You going to say it? You going to say it with me? Live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.